All right. A rapper, storyteller, artist, born and raised in New Jersey, and now here in the City of Angels. Welcome to the show, Kwame Adu.
Hello, hello.
When we first met, I knew you as Brandon Masenko, and I still call you Brandon. What's the origin of Kwame Adu?
So Kwame Adu is it's like a birthright sort of name I got from my family. My family's from Ghana, West Africa. I'm first generation American, so Kwame in itself means that I'm a male who's born on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And Adu is like family member, like one of my parents. So that was like kind of like my original, like that's almost my actual name, even before my government name.
That's really dope. And would you consider that as your stage name, or would you consider Brandon Masenko as your stage name?
Kwame Adu. I think Brandon Masenko, it was always a name I had, but it existed mostly because, like, for me to be an artist. But I think the more I grew into just being who I was as a person, I think I'd have just rather just went by Kwame Adu.
Nice. And stage name plays a huge role as it represents the artist. So as album covers. When you took graphic design classes in high school, I'm sure that the artistic craft when it comes to album cover plays a huge role when it comes to music.
Yeah.
And what sort of approach do you take when you come up with covers for, say, selling salts?
Smelling salts, even specifically, I think I knew that was one of those covers where I had that idea first. Like, I'll usually, me wanting to do visual art first, I think, put me in a position to just always kind of think that way. Like, I always think as a visual artist, even when I'm making my music. Because essentially what I'm doing is, like, painting pictures, audibly. So, I think it's kind of just like it can always be the first step, or I'll always have, like, a color palette or something in mind when I'm just doing a bigger body of work. But smelling salt specifically, I just knew that I wanted something that was like kabuki, like just like older history, Japanese theater. Yeah. And then I knew it had to just have like a very earth tone sort of thing going on. So.
And I loved like the samurai tone and like the picture of it. And talking about samurais and Japanese culture, you talk about Japanese culture a lot when it comes to the creative processes. Why do you think there's a sudden boom and rise of anime in the Western scene, and how does it influence you musically?
As far as I remember, I think it's because of hip hop. Like, honestly, I remember it was like the summer of 2016, and there was just an uprising in artists who were making music before on SoundCloud, and they were always representative of like people who listen to anime and like also listen to hip hop. And they all kind of just took off at once. Like, I remember XXL magazine having, holding ciphers for, like, newer artists. And Lil Uzi had a Meowth, like a Team Rocket Meowth on his jacket. And that's when I knew that, like, okay, there's going to be a culture shift going on. So I think it was because of music, honestly.
Nice. Well, what were some of your favorite animes as a kid, and what animes would you recommend to watch now?
My favorites growing up, I think everybody got around to watch like Naruto and Dragon Ball Z and stuff.
Yes.
I think eventually what became a lot of my favorites were this anime Trigun, this like post-apocalyptic space western sort of thing. Hunter x Hunter, One Piece is like a top 5 for me. Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. I'll always recommend Cowboy Bebop or Samurai Champloo to somebody. I think that's the first, and it's made by the same person. Like, it's all Shinichiro Watanabe. So I'm like, okay, like, this guy gets it. This is a great gateway, either or, honestly.
Yeah, no, I watched Naruto and One Piece growing up too, and I mean, One Piece is still going on to this day, which honestly, it's amazing. And circling back to your first song and talking about childhood, your first official song, as you said, was when you were 9 years old, and you did a remix of Supersonic, the theme song.
Whoa.
And would you say that that's the start of your musical career?
I think maybe I think I was still creating. Like, more than it being a career aspect back then. You know, I'm like 9.
Yeah, you're just having fun.
And, you know, exactly, yeah. I was, you know, doing a lot more music stuff. I was always living in music more than I even, like, thought, you know, at least to a certain point in my life. But I think as a career, I started at, like, 16, just putting out songs, like, on the internet with, you know, the expectation that they get heard, and I eventually, like, you know, make business out of it. So I say 16.
Yeah, most definitely. And I knew that, I know that you used to live in New Jersey, and that's where you met Frank the Fifth. And Driving Indoors, one of the first musical projects that you had and released songs. And Driving Indoors Volume 2 is on all platforms, while I did a little research. Driving Indoors Volume 1 is on SoundCloud. And sometimes SoundCloud get a bad rap, but why do you think rappers like Chance X champion SoundCloud?
I guess. Oh, first, Frank the Fourth.
Frank the Fourth. I'm so sorry. That's on me. Sorry about that.
Oh, good. I think, you know, it's just been so much harder to express yourself and then put that out on such a major level. Especially for people who want to make a career out of it, like, it's always been a lot more difficult than it has been now. So I think just the accessibility for people who want to just make music, people who were probably just meant to make music and wouldn't even have known if it wasn't for, like, open spaces to release their music, you know? Yeah. Stuff like that, I think is the reason it gets championed. It's a gateway for more art to be made.
Exactly, and I think that's one of the things that Chance has been super vocal about, is having the accessibility to music for everybody. And talking about Driving Indoors, being a collective, your most recent group, KWAMZAY, first of all, how did you and Zaya, if I'm pronouncing his name?
Zay.
KWAMZAY.
Yeah.
Meet?
You said how does, like, just...
How did you guys meet each other?
Oh, we met around this time 5 years ago when Tyler, the Creator's golf store had reopened, and I had just moved to Los Angeles, and I think he had just moved to Long Beach, and we had met there, and we went to that festival, that Camp Flognaw festival that weekend, so we were just like, it clicked pretty quick. We're like, oh yeah, we're gonna be, like, really cool for a long time. So that's where we started, and that was the fall of 2017.
Nice. And talking about Tyler, the Creator, you had a video of you talking to him, but the audio is muted, and then we were just wondering if we could know what was conversed between the two of you. And you had 2 encounters, if I'm right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy. The video that was the day I met Zay. That was the same day I met Zay when it reopened, and Tyler was just interacting with, you know, all the supporters and stuff, and I was there, and he liked the shirt. He really liked the shirt that I wore. So I just broke down, like, where I got the shirt, and I got it from my mom and all these other things. But it was mostly just that. It was mostly that. That was 5 years ago. And then, so that's when that was. That's that first one.
Nice. And we got to talk about Motherland, your most recent release as KWAMZAY. How do you say goodbye? Powerful yet so heartfelt. How do you say goodbye?
How do you say goodbye? I feel like that's a good question. I can answer this question. I know I can. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
You know, there's only one way to say it.
You know, with influences like Isaiah Rashad, Earl Sweatshirt, No Name, musically, it's powerful, but poetically, it's like a cultural movement. How much do you think music plays a role in our current political and cultural movement? Should there be a line drawn, like, say, the most recent news, I guess, Kanye, and I feel like people kind of know what the news is going on. Where do you think there should be a line artistically and politically?
I think there's always going to have to be, there's always has to be an acknowledgement that they're not one and the same. Like, I think a lot of people hold a higher regard to people who are well known, and I think that's brought about issues of, like, separating art from being the artist, you know. There's no there's no song that could be, there's no song or project that could maybe do more to you than like a bad interpersonal experience with like a person. Mm-hmm. So it's like, yeah, like no song I could make could ever save me from like maybe being a mean person, mm-hmm. So it's like, it's really just acknowledging that, like not making certain things mutually exclusive, not making people be known as smart because they can make good music. It's stuff mm-hmm. like that. I think is pretty important.
No, I agree. And talking about new music, your upcoming album, super excited. Shinju's album. When can we hear the release? And what are some of the things that we can look forward to?
Shinji's album, December.
Nice.
December.
Hell yeah. You heard it here first.
Yeah. We are here. It's coming in a month. And pretty much everything that encapsulates who I am as a person up until now. Maybe, up until like this year, like pretty much my entire 23, 24 years of living. I turned 25 in December. So a lot of that.
Oh, happy early birthday.
Thank you, yeah. Weird feeling. I think my brain's like done developing in a couple months, so you kind of feel it. It's weird.
Yeah, and the bone and brain structures, that's just set for life.
I'm straight. Like I'm either as smart or dumb as I'm gonna be forever. Is whatever. But just a lot of that. Just, it's very interpersonal. Mm-hmm. I think it says everything about who I am as an individual, and a lot of production that I got into. A lot of production I had a lot of friends helping out with. So just a lot of that, a lot of me and what goes on around me, what goes on inside of me.
Nice.
Lots of that.
Nice, dude. We're all super excited. And lastly, if you could leave a message to the world, what would it be?
I like to say that like we're kind of in this like big gag, like we're just kind of in this big like sitcom. I don't know. So it's like the gag is just like it's a perspective thing. Like good things are gonna happen if you tell yourself that there's good things to happen. Mm-hmm. And if you talk negatively on yourself or other things, like that's all it's gonna be. It's just how your brain works and it's how it perceives things. You're not gonna unsee. You can only see things based off of like how you want them to be seen or how you force them to be seen. So, I say, always there's no reason not to be good to yourself. So be good to yourself and tell yourself good things, mm-hmm. and eventually.
No, I completely agree.
Gonna fall into place.
Spread positivity.
Yeah.
And my last question: what's your favorite cereal?
Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Dude, same. Oh my god, same. Yes. That's what Joey Dosick as well. Oh my god, nice.
Yeah.
But thank you so much again for coming into the station, and we'll be performing. Brandon will be performing 2 songs, and what are the 2 songs that you'll be performing today?
Janine, produced by my friend Aviad,
mm-hmm.
and 7%, produced by my friend Dree. It was by Dree.
Super excited. Thank you so much for coming in, and we're excited to hear the songs.
Thank you.
Thank you.